There we go. Voice activity. Does this work properly? Am I cutting out? I'm messing out. I'm messing around with Discord way too little to know what works.
Oh no, that sounds good here. Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. By the way.
Oh, what do you respond to those things? By the way, thank you for coming on. What's the proper etiquette? I have no idea, but no, is it etiquette? No, it's protocol. What's the protocol? Thank you for having me. Right, that's what you're supposed to say. Damn it, sorry. Brain not working. I spent the entire day today like grinding out tomorrow's episode because I am late with my homework again.
uh, oh well, that's cool. You're what episode are you on now? I don't think I've
Um,
caught up.
the number is 74.
74. Wow.
Yeah.
I hope to one day also get there, but I work at much slower. I'm just too lazy a lot of the time and very distracted. But it's
Well, see, my problem is that I am too lazy, which is why I gave myself a static schedule, and without deadlines, I would still be working up episode 1 right now, or maybe 3.
yeah,
And that's just how my brain works. If I force myself, well, it's not forced. Like I like doing this, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. But if I don't, it's not an incentive because I don't get any reward, and there is no punishment either. I'm trying to but like if I don't decide that this needs to be finished on Tuesday and there is no discussion about it, it wouldn't get done. I have slowed
yeah,
down, by the way, like in recent, I don't know, 10 episodes or so, 5. I don't remember how many, but I was doing it twice a week, and that was way too much. And I'm doing like one of the Let's Play episodes per week.
oh
That
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
That's a saner pace because I was actually probably on the way of getting burned out. Not being burned out, but like it was getting there.
yeah. Well, that's still a pretty good pace. I think what I meant to say probably was discipline. A lot of the times I just lack the discipline, and I'm like, well, I could play and do some things without recording, or I need to just not be lazy and do some recording here.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough.
So where are you from, Borkon?
I am I live in Sweden, but originally I was born in Poland. But like I've been living in Sweden for how many years? I'm trying to do the math in my head right now. More than 30.
Wow.
Uh 87. I think we moved here at 87. My parents moved here basically. I had no input to that decision.
Yeah. That's
Like
cool.
if I had any input, I would choose a country with more sun. Like I like Sweden, don't get me wrong. I like this is my home. I love it here, but weather, sun. I
Yeah.
think I actually mentioned it on Discord yesterday that I think I have my usual yearly seasonal depression, and it's not nothing serious. It's just like absolute unwillingness to get anything done.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that for sure. It's not as bad here in the states. I live in the southern part of the states as well, so we I get plenty of sun. Too much if you ask me, but uh, in the winter,
Well,
it's yeah. I get what you're saying about the because it's just too cold to go anywhere, and
we'll be getting like a lot of sun. Like it should be starting in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I'm gonna start getting sun in my face at 5 in the morning. It's ridiculous because the time period between too little sun and too much sun is like this changes in a couple of months, and it goes from it's dark and I'm depressed to I can't get any sleep because I'm waking up at 3 in the morning because the sun is shining in my face, and I'm not getting sleep. I'm depressed
so what time is it there for you now?
right now. 9 in the evening.
Oh, 9 in the evening. Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
3 p.m. here, so the
Yeah.
sun must rise pretty early over there. I think the sun doesn't come up here until almost 6 a.m.
Well, the what you call it? Is it equinox? I think the equinox was just a week ago or so.
Oh, really?
But it's like it's changing. I think it's changing by half an hour a day or a week. Let me check. I actually now I need to know. Now that I've mentioned it, sunrise Stockholm. It was at 6 in the morning today,
Oh, really?
and tomorrow it's gonna be. Where are we? This is April 1st. Oh, maybe not that bad. It's a few minutes per day. I thought it was more. It's what? Really?
So you get a fresh blast of sunlight in the morning.
Yeah, it's gonna end up in less than a month. We're entering the period where there is no official night. It's just twilight all day, and it's such a pain.
Thanks.
I
So
mean,
it doesn't
it's
actually
it's
get.
nice. It's nice, but it's also a pain because of sleep.
Yeah. So the sun doesn't go all the way down.
Well, it
Let's see.
does go all the way down, but it's the sky never goes dark.
Oh, wow.
So it's it's
Interesting.
it's I think it's called twilight, like all night.
That's crazy. I've
Yeah.
never experienced that, and maybe one day if I ever get to travel, but I doubt it.
No, it's recommended. It's interesting. It's not great to like. Actually, no. The summers are great. I shouldn't be complaining about summers. Like especially when you're in the winter, you shouldn't be complaining about summers. And by the way, we had snow today. It's an anomaly. It shouldn't be happening, but that's why I'm saying we're still in winter because why? How? Why did we get snow today? It was
I,
15 degrees yesterday, so it was good. I mean Celsius. So
I've never seen snow in person
oh,
ever. Yeah,
okay. So you're that much south.
yeah,
Fair enough.
the farthest south. Well, not maybe not the farthest south, but I'm in Florida. It's
Oh,
very.
okay.
I'm in like the state's little limb sticking off the bottom.
All right.
Yeah. So what are you most known for, Borkin?
Most known for depends on where. Well, with this name, it's Minecraft, nothing else. Because
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah. Um,
I have certain other things that I've done in the past that people might actually recognize my name. I'm trying to stay private and like divide my Minecraft and YouTube persona from my real life persona. My friends know that I'm doing this, but I'm trying to keep like the identities separate.
oh, okay, I see. So you don't have a face reveal, but there's probably one out there on a
It
different
might
channel.
happen actually. That's not by that's not by design. The real reason for no face reveal is that I currently don't have any camera that
Oh, okay.
works, and if even if I did, I would not set it up because the view, uh, like if I set it up on my screen or anywhere on my desk, it would reveal what a horrible mess the everything behind me is.
That's when you just get a big sheet and hang it behind you.
Yeah, but that's pretty much how it's gonna end up if I ever get the face cam.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm trying to keep myself super private, but like I'm trying to keep things a little bit separated for now at least.
Yeah, understandable. Well, how and when did you get into Minecraft?
I checked this a few weeks ago. I think my receipt from Mojang is from November 2019.
Oh, okay, so not too long ago.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
wasn't. But like to be fair, I tried Minecraft in one of the early betas or alphas or like a million years ago,
Mhm.
and my reaction was like I played for 5 minutes. A creeper blew me up. I remember there was something that blew me up, which with my current knowledge of the game, I know was probably a creeper because nothing else blows you up.
Yeah.
And I rage quit and said like a good game designer wouldn't kill their players in the first 10 minutes or something like that. Like I remember that thought in my head because I was actually discussing game design with other people at that time. And yeah, don't kill your players. Actually, why did I? Oh, yes. It was because at around that time, EVE Online were starting to discuss how to change the new player experience or tutorials or like the first first hour that the player gets to experience in the game.
Hmm.
And they decided that since so much of the game is about PvP, and in most of the PvP, there is always a loser and a winner. And so the players should get used to the idea of getting killed and blown up and having to respawn, and that is a normal part of the cycle. And they spent months talking about it, and saying that normally game designers learn that you should never kill your players within the first hour or 5 hours of the game or whatever they said. And at that time, I tried Minecraft for the first time and got blown up within 5 minutes and rage quit.
So you kind of called it quits after that for a
Yeah,
while.
and it just didn't appear on my radar since then, and then it just suddenly appeared on my radar a little bit over a year ago, like a year and a half, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of had a resurgence the past couple years, and it's gotten really popular again. Well, I wouldn't say it is never popular, like not popular, but it's definitely much bigger now than because I also put it down for a while when I first got into it in 2012 or 13. I think it was 2013. I tried it, and I had a similar experience with like caving and was just getting wrecked by skeletons and creepers because the night I don't think there was enchantments, or maybe I didn't know how to enchant, so I just had like iron and some diamond gear, and I thought I almost thought the game was too hard, so I kind of got bored with it, so I put it down for a long time until like 2017 or 2018 again, and it kind of has been seems like it's been on like a steady rise since then.
Yeah, in my case, it was just YouTube that recommended me. What was it? Oh yeah, it was Hermitcraft, and I remember there was some chain that there was a really weird chain of recommendations, because I was messing around with like building electronics at home at that time, so I was looking at a lot of DIY stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yes, okay, I remember what happened. And then YouTube recommended me a video of some guys somewhere in where is it? It's like northeastern US, New England area, and they were building a boat in their backyard, like a massive sailboat. And they recommended me a video, like, since you just watched a video about, I don't know, drilling holes in an aluminium or whatever I was looking up, you might enjoy this video of some guys pouring a 5-ton lead keel, because they smelted 5 tons of lead in their backyard and poured a keel that actually worked.
Oh wow.
Like it's a legitimate project. It's like interesting. Like I thought it was just would be happy amateurs that would kill themselves with lead,
Yeah.
but no, it's like it was well done, well prepared, well researched. And after that, they said, oh, like YouTube said, like, oh, since you enjoyed this, you might actually enjoy watching Mumbo Jumbo blowing up a giant hole for his witch farm.
The mumbo
But
jumbo.
yeah, and like, what? Why is this a thing? And then I just saw it, like, oh, okay, so this is Minecraft blowing up big holes in ground. I like the idea of that, so I tried.
Yeah, it's um. So there was a s- there was a series of videos recommended to me as well on YouTube, and I want to say I'm in the same boat that like I got back into it because I saw things on Hermitcraft, and I watched Hermitcraft way back in the day in the earlier seasons, and was into it when I played, but like I said, I put it down, and then I saw Mumbo Jumbo touring the SciCraft world or the SciCraft server, and I watched those videos, and that's when I got back into it. Was
There is something like, for me at least, there is just something about these massive projects that are stupid, and that's just fascinating. That's why I made my perimeter in this my current world now. There is no good reason for that perimeter to exist other than me wanting to make a perimeter.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's one of the beauties of it is like you can do things that are so overkill and like meaningless or pointless because you can get the same result with a lesser effort. But the fact that you can do it is really fun for a lot of people, and that's what got me because I saw the SciCrafts had their perimeters and they had like 18 or 20 witch farms, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't know people played the game like this.
Yeah, exactly,
Mm.
and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to eventually end up with some like because I haven't done anything massive yet, but there are plans. Like I want to end up doing something just so over the top it's unreasonable, where I'm gonna spend maybe 3 weeks building a farm, and then I will need to use it for 10 minutes, and that will fulfill all my future needs for whatever resource I'm farming. That's the goal. Well, not the goal. It's one of the goals I have.
Yeah. Well, I'd say you're on the right track. I think you're. I mean, projects like your. I don't know if it's your spawn island or the island, the mushroom island you started with. It's a pretty
Yeah,
big, big project.
it's spawn. Yeah, it's spawn.
Yeah, and that and your redstone factory perimeter also is pretty insane.
Fun project. Like I was the problem I have with it right now, I will admit, is that I can't really make it interesting. There is a little bit like too much repetition that I don't want to put into videos. So I don't know how much you've been following it, but I've been slowing down. Like I've been in like weaving between the Redstone factory and doing other projects, like every other episode, more or less. And
Mhm.
that's because I don't know how interesting I can make it. And also, for the second reason, is because I have been failing so hard to make it a Never Tree Farm. Oh, it pains me. I have a good one, or not a good one. I have an acceptable one with TNT duping, but I have like I'm insisting like just for myself, like nobody is giving like directives here, but I want to have non-duped TNT in the witch hut perimeter or the redstone factory because I'm already making TNT for the cobblestone generator, which is also like using organic TNT or whatever you want to call it, and not duped one.
Yeah.
And that as just a stupid challenge to myself because like I have auto crafting, right? And I have renewable sand. So there is no reason for me to use TNT duping. And it's not that I'm against TNT duping, it's just an interesting uh limitation on myself.
Yeah.
And I'm failing so hard to make that farm.
Well,
It's scary.
it's a different kind of challenge, and that's what I started to do, or I set out to do with my world as well. When I first started mine in 115, was I set some rules for myself because I knew that how like mundane and boring things could get if I didn't set limitations like no TNT duping and AFK fish farming. Some other ones I forget now, but yeah, I mean it's and there are pros and cons to both, but I think yeah, like one of the
Well, yeah, go on.
one. Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say like that's the good thing about, or one of the greatest things about the game is that there's so many ways to do things that are enjoyable for you, and putting limitations is strangely one of those because you're like, well, it could be too easy, but it could also be a fun little challenge.
Yeah, I mean, like without limitations, you have creative.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like if I don't put any limitations on myself, like I could just play creative or just spawn in everything because, like, for example, like I'm using Lightmatica, right? So that's no big secrets. And I heard that some people dislike schematics mods. I don't know why, but apparently that's a thing. But anyway, and I could be using what's it called? Oh, there is some mode they're called easy placement or something like that,
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
push a button and you just have to hold right click and it builds for you. You
Hmm.
end up just walking around and you're not even a 3D printer. You just like the stepper motor for the 3D printer at most.
Yeah.
And I've decided to not use that just because it would end up being too boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because because at that point you can just push a button and spawn the whole thing in. And there is, I think there might even, I haven't researched this, but I think there might even be a mode in Lightmatica where you literally just push one button, the whole thing gets built for you, and then it just takes resources from your inventory.
Oh wow.
And that's too silly. That's
Yeah,
but
I think that is a bit too far, and I
yeah.
have used easy place mode with Lightmatica, and I do when I like I just built basalt and cobble farm, and I used easy place mode. And while I was building it, I had the same thought, like, man, this is like just short of just pasting the schematic in and throwing the resources away.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
so I think
I
from
decided to not use that.
yeah,
But for example, other things like the tweaker, the oh, what you call it?
the
Oh, brain. Come on, work brain.
mini
Where did
HUD.
my no. In Tweakaroo, there is like where you can place the blocks, like the way the game doesn't let you, so you
Oh
don't have
yeah,
to use
yeah.
scaffolding blocks. Uh, easy placement?
Uh,
No, accurate placement,
accurate placement, or is it
flexible placement,
flexible? Yeah,
some,
that's it.
something placement. I'm happy to use that, for example, even though that might also be considered cheating. But like it's like mentioned, like this is limitations that you set on yourself, and I'm a little bit flexible with my limitations. I can probably change them whenever I want.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's as far as limitations go, like when you're playing the game and enjoying it. If like I said, I was using easy place mode to build those things, and near the end, I was like, man, I could have just pasted this in because I've kind of just ran along each layer and held down the button. As long as the resources are in your hop or in your opening your inventory out of a shulker box, they'll just they'll be taken. So I think from
Yeah,
now on, like just to make it a little bit more enjoyable or feel like I'm actually building it, I'll stray from using easy place because it does take away from it a little bit strangely. Like to
yeah. I experimented with it earlier, and I decided a few months ago. Decided like, no, I just don't like it. It ends up too boring. But
yeah.
for example, like when I was building the massive sphere around my base, in the beginning, I insisted that I wouldn't be using that whole tweakaroo. Oh, what is it? Flexible placement, whatever it's called. The
I think
the
that's what it's
placement
called.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah, said, "Oh, I'm not going to use that because I want the real experience." But at some point, it just adds like, especially when you end up with one stray block of dirt that I haven't removed, which is like 70 blocks up. I have to fly up, try to hit it with a shovel.
Yeah.
It's oh, come on, like that's it's too much.
Yeah, just to place the block next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that, but like yeah, those things change. Right now, I'm trying to like I mentioned before, like I'm trying to stop using dupe TNT. If I'm building my next world eater, of course, it's going to be using dupe TNT, like
Hmm.
no question about that. But for farms, I have renewable sand and I have auto crafting. There is no excuse to not use real TNT.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will look down on you for not playing vanilla, or they'll be like, okay, you're playing modded now, but there are so many ways to play the game with, like, you can call it vanilla plus or like vanilla plus enhancements, but it really comes down to what you like playing because
Yeah, exactly. And like it's also a problem of definition. Like,
yeah.
what is vanilla? When does it start become modded? If you change your key bindings to something that's more convenient to you, is that modded?
Hmm.
Is changing the video settings modding? Technically, you are changing the vision of the developer.
Yeah, yeah,
So, or volume. If you're changing your volume, ooh, that might. So yeah, no, okay, I'm being silly, of course. Like that is not like that is probably not modded, but
no, but you're right.
there
Yeah, that's
there are some levels of purism that end up being silly. Like the first thing I did, like almost before starting Minecraft for the first time, was just to update the Java version and change memory settings.
yeah, yeah,
And if I'm trying, like, if I actually try to load my world with default Java version for Minecraft, it would be too slow.
yeah, yeah.
So is that modded? I'm just making it faster, or
Right.
like lithium or phosphor, speeding the game up for no other trade-offs. Actually, lithium gave me one bug once, but other than that, like it shouldn't change the normal experience. Is that modded? Because it allows you to do things that otherwise wouldn't be possible on your computer because it would be too slow.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
just like sodium and lithium and all that. It's like a quality of life, and uh,
yeah,
I've been tempted to do what you've done, and also add auto crafting because the crafting it gets pointless after a while if you're crafting the same. Like if you stand at a crafter and craft slime into slime blocks over and over and over, and it would take like that really mundane act away from crafting, and so you could do something else like more fun. And it's not vanilla, but it's like what do you want to spend your time
Yeah.
doing? You just stand there crafting, or
But with auto crafting, like I have a little bit of a controversial opinion about auto crafting. I don't think auto crafting should be in Minecraft, but I am fine with using it myself. I don't know if it's being a hypocrite or something like that. I have no idea. But my thought is that I personally will spend like I let's say I don't know. The iron blocks are a bad example, but because that autocrafter was simple. But like the autocrafter I did for which was the most complicated one I've done recently, probably pistons. And let's say I will do some stupid project like removing a lot of bedrock on top of the nether roof, so that will require say 100,000 pistons or something like that. Like, just as an example.
Mhm.
I spent more time designing the autocrafter for pistons than it would ever take me to make 100,000 and probably even a million pistons. Right?
Yeah,
So that is that, and I'm completely okay with that because I did enjoy the process of designing the autocrafter. I would definitely not enjoy the process of actually crafting the pistons. So for me, that works. But I suspect that for the absolute majority of players, if autocrafting got added, they will look up the first hit on YouTube about how to place the blocks for an autocrafter that can autocraft everything. They would follow that tutorial for whatever 30 minutes or so, and they would never think about it again, and then they would get all the crafting done for them automatically without understanding and knowing and even ever caring about that. And then I think autocrafting would actually remove something from the game. For me personally, it adds something because it gives me things that I'm interested in to do, but I think for most players, it would actually remove something without actually giving them anything.
yeah,
Not sure. It might be a very crazy opinion. It's probably not fully formed, but there's this thought in my head that maybe autocrafting is good for me. I know this. Like it's makes gives it improves my enjoyment and doesn't take anything away. But
yeah,
I don't think it might not be the best possible thing for the game as a whole.
yeah. Well, I think that's why uh, I agree as well, and I think that's why El Mango also added it to their Peaceful series to not take anything away, but kind of add to it. And
Yeah.
I think that way as well. Like I don't. The thing that I do see a lot of people using is the movable block entities. I think that would be really cool to be added to the vanilla game, but I don't think auto crafting would be good overall because, like for example, I enabled Dragon Egg Bedrock breaking in my series, and I feel that I'm that's kind of warranted because it was in the game and it was kind of fixed, opposed to enabling auto crafting because that's never been in the game, and I probably wouldn't use it to be honest if it was even in there.
But yeah, movable block entities would be nice. Like
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if you saw my video on Friday. I've been playing around with it, and I've actually been playing around with it a little bit more since then. And yeah, and by the way, it's not as simple as it seems.
yeah.
Very weird things happen. Although I don't know if it's the carpet mod that is implementing it weirdly, or it's just supposed to be weird. But very weird things can be done.
Yeah, there are definitely downsides to having them be enabled if they were to vanilla, because a lot of storage systems would probably break, and like furnace arrays and things like that. Uh,
Although I'm not seeing that as a problem. Like I think it's actually good when contraptions break because that just gives me an excuse to design a new one.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's
I have
true.
absolutely no problem with that.
Yeah,
I know like lots of people have been saying like, oh no, my stuff will break. Like, yeah, like I want my stuff to break. My stuff should break. If it breaks, I can debug. Debugging is fun. Debugging is great. I do understand that this might actually not be a very mainstream opinion, but it works for me.
Yeah, well, I think that's why your series is really interesting and entertaining for a lot of people because you innovate a lot. So it's I,
I
I
hope I do.
I think it inspires people too to try and figure things out for themselves and fix things as well. And it's
Although
a
tomorrow might be testing it a little bit hard. Okay, I will like big spoiler alert here, which I probably my video is going to be out before this comes out.
probably yeah.
But tomorrow's episode is actually ended up quite long. It's ended up half an hour long. It's like the amount of video about what I did is longer than the amount of time I spent building it in my survival world by
Oh wow.
like maybe 4 times. Because literally the thing I built in my survival world took 5 minutes to build, and I made almost half an hour video about that.
Yeah, well, that's what's interesting is you don't just build and showcase. You're like, this is how I built it in the process.
Yeah, and I actually like, and that's I'm not saying this was by design, but it was by like the video ended up this way by necessity because yeah, I spent almost a week testing different designs and making them more and more complicated until I reached the point where I realized that I'm just wasting my and everybody's time. And the design I actually want for the thing I want to do is just one button and one piston and one dispenser. That's basically it. Oh, you'll
Yeah,
see if you watch it tomorrow. It's
yeah. I'm
I
looking.
I like the result of it, even though yeah, it's absolutely underwhelming and anti-impressive. It's not even unimpressive; it's anti-impressive.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Um, so, what have you enjoyed most about making your Let's Play, and most and least? Like, what have you liked the most, and what have you liked the least?
Wow, that's hard. I don't know. That's a hard question. I just enjoy doing it, and I enjoy the feedback, which I didn't think I would actually, which is weird because normally I'm basically a hermit, so I do my own thing and I don't really listen to what other people think
Hmm.
in other ventures in my life. But this one, I'm just enjoying people's feedback. So like I've been enjoying that a lot. What I've been enjoying the least, trying to get my sound right. I still don't have it right. Like it just hurts me every time I listen to edit. And it's not the usual that I hate my voice. That's fine. I got over that within 2 weeks. I just hate the sound quality of the microphone, of my whole system here, the noise from the fans, which are probably, yeah, they're still very noisy, right? I can't hear them because I have massive headphones, but I'm still rendering tomorrow's video right now, and it's noisy as hell. So, sound is the thing that I'm not, I can't say I enjoy it the least.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you don't have really, any big complaints. I mean, it sounds fine to me, and your quality is really good as well. So I wouldn't.
Oh, it's still I can still hear problems all the time. It's one of these things like other people say, "No, everything is perfect," and I can. Okay, so an analogy here. I had a friend many years ago. I don't know. I haven't seen him for like 10, 15 years. Anyway, he studied filmmaking. Has nothing to do with YouTube, by the way. Like it was
Mhm.
a long time ago. But he had the most annoying habit of pointing out to people where the boom mic on a film set got inserted into frame. He just
Uh,
had a professional ability to spot that. And he would always point out when the boom mic ended up in frame in a film or TV show or anything. And this happens apparently all the time. Have you ever noticed this?
no, I've never noticed it at all.
Uh, if you know what to look for, you will see this all the time. It's
Oh
like
wow.
often blurred out or hidden or like that, but like if and So he had this ability that nobody else could see the problem, but he could also always spot the problem. And I have the same thing. Like, since I'm listening to my voice when I'm editing so much,
Yeah.
I can hear I know normal people will never hear this, but like it still bothers me. So
Yeah.
that's that.
You have a keen ear
Actually,
for it.
I will say one thing. Okay, I'm enjoying the least. All this babbling was to try to collect my thoughts. A little bit of cheating here. The thing I enjoy the least is the waiting for rendering, for my editing software to load, for my editing software to decide that it needs to convert my clips from whatever format they are in into their internal format for faster editing. That is what I hate. I hate slow software.
Oh, okay.
And that is a professional thing, by the way, because I've been working as a software developer for an eternity now.
Oh, really? I
So
didn't know. That's cool. Wow. So you
so
do so you work on well, can you say what kind of software and stuff you work on?
right now, pretty much none whatsoever, because I had the brilliant idea that before the plague I would start my own business, and nobody is willing to have contractors right now because everybody is out of business, because there is no business, because the economy has died.
Yeah. So kind of started up at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Well,
I,
not
I
no
quit
fault of your
quit
own.
my job a few years ago because I was just burned out. I was complete wreck,
Yeah.
and decided that I need to try other things in my life. And I'm actually happy that I started trying to do this YouTube thing in this time when I have so much time, because this might actually end up being something I might even pursue professionally. I'm enjoying it so much that I might actually completely change my careers,
Yeah, well, it's
because I have a problem, like, I love programming. I have loved it since I was like 8 years old. Like, this is my biggest passion in life. The problem is that I absolutely hate the business around it.
oh, really?
It
Huh.
Over the years, it's a thousand paper cuts. It's one of these things where, like, I don't know, like, if your teachers ever told you in school that, oh, if you work with what you love, you will never have to work a day in your life, or some stupid thing
Yeah.
that's being
Yeah.
said. Yeah, that's um, how can I say this politely? How much swearing can we do here?
As much as you want.
It's bullshit. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely complete load of bollocks.
Yeah.
At least for me, because for me it is, oh, work with what you love, and you won't have to work for the rest of your life. No, work work with what you love, and you will start associating the thing you love with endless meetings, stupid middle management, broken promises, stupid deadlines, bad planning, and thousand other paper cuts. And at some point, I ended up with a year-long writer's block in writing code.
Uh,
As in, my brain would shut down and I was unable. Like, I opened the editor, tried to write some codes, and my brain would just say, "Nope, nothing. We're not having it." I would almost fall asleep, or just lose focus entirely. It's so, yeah. It's one of these things. I'm still not over that, and that's been a few years ago.
yeah, well, I think what you said is really important is that when people would tell you as you're growing up, teachers and people that parents or friends of parents that would tell you find something that you love and you'll be able to do that, or do that until it's financially beneficial, but it doesn't always work out that way.
And especially, don't tell that to teenagers, especially teenage boys.
Because
Like, so, okay, it's gonna be Call of Duty and masturbation for the rest of their life. No,
yeah, yeah. There's a lot
like,
of things
wait,
that you love when you're young that
exactly.
you can't really translate to adulthood.
Yeah. In my case, it was programming, so at least that was something. But it's still that yeah, I would have rather kept this as a hobby and a passion, rather than burning out completely as a profession. Like, I was working for a very long time for, like, a massive media company, so maybe that was part of the problem.
Hmm.
But I have started hating the internet. I have started hating when anybody tells me something about AI, I just roll my eyes and walk the other way. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ugh. Much bitterness from my old business.
Yeah, well, I think what's important for people to know, you know, what I think is good advice anyway, as you're getting older, and like if people are listening and they're growing up and they are being told do what you love, they might try things that they think they love or that they do love, and it might not work out, like in your case. And it's okay to try things if you don't know you love them as well, because you might end up liking them a lot.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
I wouldn't say it didn't work out for me. It's working out great for me. Like I still have job offers, like even from bloody Google. If I ever wanted to take them, I have said no to Google 18 times now already. Yes, I'm keeping count because it's funny. But so career-wise, it would be great. It's just bad for my mental health.
yeah.
And
No,
since we
well,
like it's okay, since we're getting into this, let's go deep. Like after I quit my job, I lost 30 kilos. I mean, going from being ridiculously fat and unhealthy to just slightly unhealthy right now.
mm,
And my resting heart rate dropped from 110, which is just bad, to under 60, which is great. I mean,
oh wow.
my blood pressure has gone from my doctor looking at me and basically not telling me that I'm gonna die, but thinking that, to
Mm.
perfectly healthy, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, you made a
And
drastic change for the good.
yeah, and that's just from reducing stress, just from reducing the whole. Oh, okay. Now my blood pressure is going up because I'm thinking about it.
You're rehashing it.
This is not very Minecrafty, though. Let's go back to Minecraft or something like that. Or let's talk about religion and politics because that's a less sensitive topic.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, this isn't necessarily a Minecraft podcast. It's just normally what
Ah,
I,
it's
you know,
a conversation. Oh, okay, I
yeah,
like that. I
yeah.
was actually thinking about that. A friend of mine about a week ago. Yeah, well, actually, it was like exactly a week ago. We were taking our Sunday walk because or my friends finally managed to convince me to join on their Sunday walks, which are ridiculously long, like 20 kilometers or something like that.
Oh wow.
And uh, we had a conversation, and he said, so collective nouns, right? The topic is collective nouns. What is the collective noun for a bunch of white guys?
Dudes or guys or bros, something like that.
No, there is a new modern one.
Uh-oh.
A podcast of white guys.
A podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's if I had to say any reason why I started this podcast was because of my interest in Minecraft and the Minecraft community, but it isn't necessarily confined to Minecraft. Like I, would talk to some other people and just ask them questions about their life specifically as much as they wanted to share, and kind of people get to know more people, and that's kind of the what I like about a podcast is you get to know more about someone than just what they put out on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's a good idea. It gives you an excuse to have a conversation with people who would otherwise like say, "Who is that weird guy asking me things?" And then you said, "Oh, like let's record this and publish it." And, oh, okay, it's a podcast. Then I understand the framing of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it just it'd be interesting, kind of pick the brain a little bit of people, and some people might be curious. Uh,
Yeah,
I
fair
just
enough.
I just googled, by the way, because I didn't know off the top of my head kilometers to miles. So you did 20 it's about 20 kilometers.
Yep.
Damn, that's about 12 miles. And
Yeah.
I'm in the U.S., so I just think of miles, but yeah, that is a good walk. That's a lot more than I do normally. I'll try and walk 2-3 miles a day.
I've been like when I was trying to get really healthy, like when my like well, blood levels and fatness were just way too much. I was trying to do what was it? About 8 kilometers per day, whatever that is, 5 miles or so.
Oh, wow.
And I kept it up for at least 8 months, and after that I was like ridiculously healthy. And what happened at the end of it? Oh, it's actually okay. It's a fun story. Why not? I can tell the fun story. So I'm a hiker, right? Even when I was ridiculously fat, I had no problems of just putting a backpack on my back, going into the mountains, and disappearing for a week. And by disappearing, I mean like it's civilization. It's like it's a trail. There's tons of people, so like
Yeah,
not not
yeah.
not hiding in the forest somewhere. It's just walking along a trail.
A real hermit.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. Like I don't want to die that much yet. Uh, but like at the end of my like big regime of losing weight and trying to get healthy, um, all my friends bailed from the hike that we were planning, and like just one by one they dropped out, and I ended up going alone, which was actually the first time I went on a longer hike alone. By alone, I still mean like there was like hundreds of people on the trail, but
Yeah,
there was nobody in my group.
yeah.
And I ended up in this weird situation where I could set my own pace, which you never can do. Like if you're in a group of people, like everybody, like someone has a very slow morning, someone wants to go to sleep very late, so you end up in a conversation until like 2 in the morning, and so you can't wake up too early, and then that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But since I was setting my own pace, I could wake up whenever I wanted, which ended up being 4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And when I got to my next campsite, which I had planned, it was 10. And that's too early to stop. I cannot eat dinner and go to sleep at like 10 in the morning. So I had to go to the next campsite and the next campsite. And I ended up doing an 8-day long hike in 2 nights
Wow. Holy cow.
because nobody stopped me. It was not good for my feet, by the way, and my legs were hurting for like 2 weeks afterwards.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
but yeah, it's these things that happen when you suddenly end up being healthy.
Well, that's good. It's good you decided to do that, and uh with everybody locked up now, I think a lot of people are missing that, or some nice, just a walk around the block helps tremendously.
I actually saw I don't know if it was research or just rumors, and that apparently many more people are actually out walking about because there is nothing else to do. So you can't go to the cinema or you can't go to museums or whatever people would do with their kids,
Hmm.
some amusement parks. Since all these places are closed, everybody is just going out for walks. At least apparently and I have noticed this in Stockholm here. Like there's so many people like just out walking around
That's good. Yeah.
because all the shop like okay, we are a weird country because we haven't had a lockdown at all, and
Yeah.
our the health guy, it's not the health minister, the oh, what's he called? He has some guy like the official responsible for public health,
Hmm.
basically for the longest time had the attitude to face masks like the Catholic Church has the condoms. You know how that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the attitude of Catholic Church to condoms is condoms encourage people to have sex. Sex
Hmm.
causes AIDS, therefore we can stop AIDS by not by preventing people from having condoms. And that's
Yeah.
the same attitude that the Swedish like health agency had to face masks, which is very weird, but some people think that way. They changed that a few months ago, but yeah. But like there's so many people walking around now. It's weird, strange.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm misremembering, but I think Sweden did pretty good, and in
No,
as
we
far as the.
didn't. No, that's what the media were saying in the summer.
Mhm.
because like there was lots of, I don't know if it was propaganda or just people trying to find a good excuse to not have lockdowns, because saying, oh look, Sweden did well. No, like our death rate, like the amount of people who had died per million, we are still top 20 in the world
Oh wow.
right now, or
Jeez.
25 or something like that. So it's not good at all.
Wow.
It's not as terrible as some other countries, like Belgium suffered horribly, the UK suffered horribly, but we didn't do particularly well either.
But Sweden never had an actual like business lockdown or like lockdown in your homes kind of
Nothing,
thing.
nothing. No.
Wow. Well, maybe, I know it's controversial and I probably have the wrong opinion about this, but I'm just gonna, you know, I don't think that we should have locked down businesses and locked things down as hard as they did. I think face masks, putting as a requirement was fine. If they wanted to do that and social distancing and all that, but I think the lockdown really killed a lot of the businesses that was not, in the grand scheme of things now of what we know was
I
not
I
the right
think
call.
you are right, but so like the argument I heard from the health agency, public health agency, I think that's their official title, was that this is gonna not gonna last two weeks or 2 months that everybody was saying in the beginning. They
Hmm.
said this is gonna last several years. If we do a serious lockdown now, then people will stop talking, or stop listening to us 5 months from now, and everybody's gonna die. That was basically it. Because like we had restrictions, like there have been like serious restrictions for the longest time. So like restaurants cannot have that many people, no concerts, no like even funerals, right?
Hmm.
There are limits on how many people can gather in one place. That has been like since day one, pretty much. But they said from the beginning, if we do too strict lockdown today, nobody is going to obey it 5 months from now, and that's when the big trouble is going to start. And a lot of countries in Europe has had that problem. So Poland, the Czech Republic, or just from the top of my head, I think Lithuania, a few countries have that exact pattern, that they did a very hard lockdown about a year ago, and they had pretty much no cases of COVID, and now they're dying in like in ridiculous numbers.
Wow.
Like I'm trying to not look at the statistics, because the statistics is just like it's depressing,
Yeah.
and especially since I am originally from Poland, and looking at Poland now is, oh god, they are dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poland had a death rate that was like a tenth of Sweden just 4 or 5 months ago. They are now above Sweden.
Wow, that is crazy.
And Sweden has stayed
Jeez.
pretty much static from the beginning. Like
Yeah.
the no huge ups and downs, just like the same. It's bad, but it's the same amount of bad. While Poland a year ago, nobody was sick. Poland now, like 10% of the population are sick right now.
Oh my God. Well, hopefully and thankfully now I think the vaccines are being dispersed. So hopefully we
I d-
see this time next year, things are a little bit better.
I wanted to say something negative, but let's not be pessimistic. I need to tell myself that I need to be optimistic, especially in my public facing persona on YouTube. I need to be happy and have the fake smile. Oh, can you hear that I'm trying the fake smile now? Sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's been serious advice people have been giving me. Try to use a fake smile all the time, and then you sound like the ads on TV. Haha, I'm so happy right now that that's absolutely doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, I mean,
But I am a little bit of a cynical, pessimistic, bitter person. I don't call myself pessimistic. I'm just planning for the future.
yeah, well, it's I think it's good to be pessimistic sometimes about the future, especially especially maybe not, doom and gloom, but just be ready for the worst almost.
Yeah, and in this case, right now, I'm not very optimistic about the vaccine, because the problem is, like, like my sister, for example, is in you would call it a vulnerable population, because some medical problems,
Hmm.
and she hasn't gotten the vaccine yet.
Oh wow.
because of accessibility problems. Like they just
Yeah.
cannot produce enough of it. Maybe that will be solved a few months from now, but she should have gotten the vaccine last year, probably. Like if things were well planned, but they aren't.
Yeah. Thankfully I'm not in that category of like uh susceptible to it, but I think you know hope hopefully like you said in a few months that I don't know how they're dispersing them or what the deal is, but if they haven't, the governments have not had a lid on this thing for a year now. Hopefully, they start to kind of put it on to.
I think it's just a manufacturing problem. That's it. There's no logistical problem. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's just
Manufacturing.
manufacturing. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
And I want the vaccine because I kind of want to I want to meet my sister. I haven't seen her for 6 months or something like that. I want to meet my niece. My niece is like, let me think. She's probably 10% older than last time I saw her, or something like that. Maybe even more. No, about 10%. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've got friends with grandparents that live in other states, and they haven't seen them the whole time. I don't think in person anyway. So it's a. But we'll be able to hopefully, you know, come out on the good side of this and tell our children and grandchildren about it. Be like, well, this is what we went through in 2020, 2021. And hopefully it's kind of the worst of it, because I don't know,
And
I can be
to
also.
be fair, it's not even a bad plague. This is a mild case of bad plagues. There
Yeah,
can be much worse ones.
well that's
But that might actually, like, I don't remember who was talking about. Well, some expert about the whole thing. He was said he is very happy that this happened because this kind of made people wake up.
yeah, yeah.
Because last time epidemiologists, that's a like crazy word, but the last time they were talking about that maybe governments will wake up and try to actually like introduce some programs for tracking these things and just like making sure that epidemics don't spread. It was
Mhm.
with SARS,
Yeah,
whenever that
yeah.
was 10-15 years ago, and absolutely nothing happened. Like apparently the vaccines we're getting now, they're just repurposed SARS vaccines that some crazy scientists were working on for the past 15 years without any funding, because once SARS disappeared, nobody funded the SARS vaccine. But like pretty much that research has been just repurposed now for the new vaccine, which is because this is SARS. This is just a little mutation on the same virus we had 15 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, I think you're right. Hopefully this kind of is a good like little wake up call, because I think in the first few weeks when it came to the US, when it was starting to spread really bad, I think in March when we had our first lockdowns, I think everyone was super paranoid that it was going to be detrimental, like way worse than it is. And I mean, it's definitely bad, but it's, yeah, like you said, not as bad as it could be.
Yeah,
So
if it was SARS levels, that would be. Oh, I was about like that. Okay, optimist. What can we say optimistic about it? Oh, housing would get cheaper. Housing would get much cheaper.
yeah, yeah.
That's not an optimistic thing to say if you actually think about it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
How do I do optimism? I think housing would be cheaper, right? That's a positive thing, right? Oh no, that's because everybody died.
Yeah.
Damn
Yeah.
it! I have to practice that.
Um, so just getting back to Minecraft now.
Yeah.
Um, what's your current favorite aspect of the game?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard question. That's like that's a super easy question to ask, but that it would probably take me a year to figure out what. I don't know. It's just because I enjoy it. Building, like making something from nothing.
So
That's that.
the
It's both. Like so. I'm probably a bit known as the person who makes redstone things and farmy things and stuff in that direction, technical direction.
mm,
But I do enjoy, like, even though I'm absolutely terrible at building, I do enjoy that. The problem is I'm so bad at it that don't dare to show the results of it because most of them suck. And I don't dare to do it myself because it's terrible. And I know it's one of these like stupid things that your mother would say, you're not allowed to go into the water until you learn how to swim. And
Yeah.
that's basically that attitude I have to building right now. I would like to do a lot more of it, but I don't want to do it until I have learned how to do it, which you can only do by doing more of it.
Right.
I don't know. I generally just enjoy creating something from nothing because that's basically what we're doing. We're taking a bunch of random numbers that some game generated and we're creating things from it, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think for Redstone in the beginning, so in the beginning it was just the purely technical aspects of the game that pulled me in. And in the beginning I kind of saw Minecraft and Redstone as a really, really terrible programming language, and that was running on this really, really bad computer called Minecraft. And by the way, I have worked with worse programming languages and worse computers, so that's nothing new to me. Like to work with a really weird programming language like Redstone. And I think and that's why like I was fascinating by it from the beginning, and that's also why I like programming, because like in programming that's exactly the same thing I do. Like I create something from like where there was nothing and suddenly there is something now, and that's the best feeling in the world for me at least. And yeah, I'm getting that from Minecraft now.
Yeah. Well, I think it shows, you know, from the stuff you do. I'm told you're the feed tape guy.
Well, see, there is a problem here. I have not really learned too much about feed tapes yet. For example, I still don't know how to make a zero-tick feed tape. I know they exist. I haven't just researched the topic, so it's
Mm.
a little bit embarrassing. I do have a piston feed tape project that I don't think anybody has ever made before, and it might also be in a different Redstone category. That's all I'm gonna say. No spoilers. I'm still
Oh.
working on it, and it's gonna be really fun. It's absolutely useless, but it's really funny.
That's exciting. Nice.
If it works. I hope it does.
Yeah.
It is an idea. There is a prototype. It doesn't suck too much, but it still doesn't work properly. That's all I'm gonna say. And
Nice. We get some hype. Um,
yeah,
what are you most excited for in 117 that you've seen so far?
big caves.
Big
Which is
caves.
actually a problem, because like let's imagine that I start a new world in 117. I probably won't, but like just like as a thought experiment. Uh, Building in caves is mostly about interiors. I love the hugeness of the caves. I love the way they look. I love the feeling. I've been playing around in snapshots a lot just to see what they're all about.
Mhm.
And like I found some massive and fantastic caves. The problem is it's all about interiors, and I know nothing about interiors. I could not like if I ever built a base in a cave, it would be just bare bones redstone inside a cave, and that probably wouldn't be nice looking. So let's imagine I end up in some new world in 117. I will probably be doing it in the mountains, even though I like the caves more.
Oh, so it is to avoid trying to aesthetically design the interior of the cave.
Exactly. Because exteriors, I know I understand how to do I'm not good at it, but exteriors at least I understand. Exteriors are simple. Make it big because then you can hide that there is nothing in there. Right? Just make
Yeah,
it big because big allows details that are very hard to get right if you're working with single blocks. But if you're working with 50 blocks, you can make them roughly the good shape that you want.
yeah, yeah.
And for interiors, it's all about single block placement that has to be exactly right to not look terrible. And I have absolutely none of that. Like my brain just does not comprehend
Yeah.
how to. And I'm looking around right now in my apartment here, and yeah, that's exactly how I design my interiors here. It's absolutely like, oh, it's almost embarrassing. One of the reasons why I don't have a face cam.
Well, I'm not the builder myself, so I normally find like I'm more excited to do like build the walls for a perimeter or a hole or something than I am to build like a structure. I find that easier at least to design like a wall, just at least a wall or the outside of something, and then the details is what I struggle with a lot to make
I
it
think
stand out.
I'm on the same in the same plane. I actually like speaking of perimeter walls. Oh, I have a glorious project for that. It's still very much in planning stages, but I already have the next idea for the wall printer in my head, and
Oh,
I think it might end up being very good if I finish it at some point within the next year. There's so many projects. Like I have noticed this. Like when I was starting, speaking of that, like when I was starting the Let's Play series, I thought like I would run out of ideas after 10 episodes, maybe 20. I tried to make a spreadsheet and a document where I would have ideas and almost scripts, and I'm gonna do this and then next that and then next that. And I actually delayed starting the Let's Play series because I didn't think I had a good enough plan. And then after just like 3 episodes or 5 episodes, the amount of things I wanted to do grew much faster than the things I was doing. And right now I'm probably just one making one episodes gives me ideas for 10 more.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
madness.
yeah.
So the to-do list right now is just crazy. And so that's why I'm saying the wall printer, the new version of the wall printer might actually take a little bit of a time.
Well, I think that keeps it interesting for people to watch too, because you're not just putting up the stuff that you exactly plan to build. Well, once you get ideas for things, it's uh, you can create new stuff.
Yeah, like I think it's I don't know. Do people actually plan this? Are there people who doing let's plays that are fully planned from the beginning to the end? Like, like the Hermitcraft people? Did they plan their bases from the beginning? Did they have plans for the shops from the beginning? Do they have the scripts for the plot lines from the beginning? I have no idea. How do people do this?
Who knows? I would say the Hermitcraft probably plans out the beginning at least, just from what I've seen, and then they kind of like go from there. And I mean, I have like a Discord channel that I have different projects with different channels that only I can see that have like different projects I want to work on, and there's no way I'm gonna get to all of them anytime soon. So
Yeah,
there's always just more to do.
I don't know. Like it's probably obvious that I have absolutely abandoned the whole idea of planning anything, and I'm completely like I don't even know what I'm gonna do in the next episode right now, and I'm fine with that. Like some episodes. This one actually took quite a lot of time, but I've done some episodes literally in one day. Like on a Monday, I realized like I'm completely out of time. I have been doing other things. I need to push out like not push out, but I need to make an episode because I promised people that I would do it, and it turns out good. Like
Hmm.
some of the episodes I've done recently that weren't as good as others might actually have taken 2 weeks to do, and some that I've like that have received like really good not reviews but like lots of views and people liking them and watching them for a long time um had like just like 12 hours of work behind them at most that I did the day before without any planning. It's weird. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think you're on the right track, and I think a lot of people are enjoying what you're putting out, and, including me. So, yeah, excited to see the rest of the world. Are you planning, or I know you say you're not really planning right now, and I think we still got plenty of time before 117 comes out. But do you think you would update the world or just start a new one?
Oh, absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
just update it.
Is it long time?
Uh,
Isn't it like summer or whatever? I would imagine that if Mojang are planning for summer, they will be. I think okay. I don't know how they think, but if I was them, I would try to get it early in the summer to catch all the kids having summer vacation from school.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
think that's the
that,
plan.
so that would be like less than 3 months from
Yeah,
now.
only a couple months. Yeah.
That's not a lot of time. I don't know. Is it possible to upgrade worlds now, or is that still disabled? Because that was disabled a few snapshots ago.
Yeah, I
I haven't
remember.
checked.
Yeah, I haven't tried, and I haven't asked anywhere. They might have made it available to upgrade worlds, because that's been on my mind as too. As well. Like, I wonder if
Actually,
how
if
difficult
they
it
made
is.
it available, then there should have been some news about how that works with the changed height. So they probably haven't yet. Huh.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I was actually like, when it comes to planning, I have it in my mind that I should probably reserve some areas where I'm not going right now, that I wouldn't generate the chunks, or actually trim the chunks that I haven't been using,
Mhm.
so that they could generate with the new terrain generation or cave generation mostly.
Yeah.
Don't know. I definitely want to upgrade. There is no reason to not upgrade, especially since, well, I consider it, and like, as a software developer, I consider it just normal, good hygiene to always keep your software up to date.
Hmm.
So I see it from that point of view. It's good hygiene to always be current, even though it might be a little bit of a pain upgrading. Now I know that if you're jumping over 5 releases when you're upgrading, it's 10 times the pain.
Yeah. Yeah. It could prove some issues there.
Yeah.
But I
I
think
don't
it'll
know.
be.
Has Minecraft always been upgradable from the beginning?
I think so. Maybe I think some updates early on in the alpha and beta did drastically change, like the generation to where you couldn't upgrade. I think that's what Etho actually started a second world because he was upgrading from his original, and
Oh, okay.
I think he's in the same one he's had now for a long time though. So I mean, maybe like beta, early Minecraft, you could always upgrade.
It's interesting. That's actually like that's good software engineering, I would say.
Yeah, I think.
Like, compared to other things in Minecraft, which is not very good software engineering, quasi connectivity. Anyone? That's the worst. That's such a terrible bug. It's such a useful bug, but it's such a terrible bug. Or I mean, all kinds of item duping. Come on, like, item duping now, or the fact that they are still on OpenGL fixed pipeline, which last time I tried to develop a game, and that was like 2008 or so, I was already using shaders. Why isn't Minecraft using shaders in this year? Well, they are gonna start now.
So you were developing a game in 2008, you said? Or
As a hobby, or
oh,
just
okay.
messing
Yeah.
around. I've written all kinds of software. Like, I've been doing this for so many years that I have touched everything. The game never ended up anything. Like, I did the normal programmer thing. I focused so much on the engine that by the time it would have been time to actually, have something workable, I still didn't have an idea for what the game would be. But I have a partially working engine, which is the absolutely worst way to approach the problem.
Oh, okay. Can you say what kind of game it was?
uh Spaceships flying around. I basically, at that time, I was just missing Elite, like the original Elite and the second versions.
Mm.
So I just wanted Elite, like a new Elite. When did Elite Dangerous come? 5 years ago or something like that. And at that time is basically all the space, like space shooters or flying around in space. Space sims was what people call them.
Yeah.
Were completely dead, and I wanted to make one. Never ended up doing anything useful with them. But like, I remember using shaders back then. So why doesn't Minecraft use them yet until this year? That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe one day down the road we'll see Borkon's spaceship simulator.
No, that's not gonna happen.
No.
It's the business of game developers, game development, I have found is very strange. It's like the development practices and all kinds of things that I am used to from for working for like big businesses, and so like, I used to work for Ericsson, for example, and then like a huge media company, um, or for that matter, in lots of open source software. the world I know from this is completely different from the world I've seen in game development. And I think it has to do with the fact that it's such a dream job for many young programmers
Hmm.
that they give up any idea of trying to aim for any other, let's say, any other area of software development, and they just go for game development, and it becomes very insulated. So they are making very little money. They are being really exploited, which is just crazy because as a software developer in any other business, you can make 3 times as much money as in games. And
Yeah.
they are still going for that because of some kind of dream. And they're working for like 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Even though in other businesses, if you look at a company like Ericsson, for example, where I worked quite a few years, uh, the average programmer works maybe 15 hours a week. I mean, the rest of the time is in meetings and talking and stuff like that. But the actual work, just the grind, nobody has the brain to sit for 60 hours per week. You can do it
Mm.
once. You can't do it for a year because you just become stupid. And it's visible in so many games have such fundamental software problems that nobody else would have.
Yeah,
It's it's
it seems
it's
like
strange.
an entirely different beast.
Yeah, it's just a weird business field. I don't know if it's ever gonna change. Also, because it's so easy to pull people in with the dream of, hey, developing games is like playing games. No, it's just the opposite. Like it's absolutely the opposite. I had a friend, by the way, who worked for should I say who it was? Very large game that you definitely have heard of, and he got into that as a tester. And he thought, "Oh, I'm gonna be testing games. It's like playing games every day." Yeah, he got the same 15 seconds for 4 months.
Oh my
15
god.
seconds of the game that he had to play over and over and over and over again to make sure that this bit of whatever mission he was debugging would work exactly the way it was planned. 4 months, 15 seconds of the game.
Ugh.
He hates games now. He went into
Jeez.
middle management.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like an issue because or maybe the wrong way to go about testing certain parts of a game. Because I looked
No,
into
okay. So there is lots of testers that are like general purpose testers that are like were playing that whole thing.
Mhm.
But he was focused, like his job. He was specifically picked probably because he sucked at the game in general. So they put him on the simplest thing, like make sure that this part of the mission is exactly the way it's supposed to be for 4 months. But
Oh,
the problem was that the majority of the testers were testing small parts. There
yeah.
were some elite testers that got to play the whole thing and were playing video games at work. But for most people, that's not what's gonna happen.
Like the big ad you see on certain websites like play video games for a living. Or
What the
like
hell is that about?
get rich
Is
playing video games.
you mean that like the world needs gamer DNA or that crap?
Yeah, it's just those ads
Wh-
that target people that are so susceptible to things like that.
What is that about? I actually didn't look at it into it because I have no idea what they're advertising. What are they selling?
Well, as far as I know, that it sounds like what your friend did is that I mean, they get a bunch of testers to test like one mission or one chapter of something, and they just do it over for hours and hours.
Oh, okay. So it
It's
is
probably
is
just
that kind of thing? Yeah. Okay. Fair
I
enough.
don't know. I mean, and there's like different scholarships for things like that, but I don't know. I feel like it's definitely a tough business to go into like developing games. So
And in general, I would so I've gotten a lot, like since I've been in this business for so many years. I mean, software development. Like I've gotten so many questions, and I've the kids almost ask me like, "Oh, how do I get into developing games?" Like, become a good developer. Start with that, and like after that, you will probably figure out if you want to or not.
mhm.
It's something I'm kind of like I'm when I was starting programming, right, there were no game developers, there were no business developers, there were no embedded developers, there were no database developers, there were no web developers. It was just like, do you write code or you don't write code, right? If you write code, you can write all kinds of code. right, it takes a while to get specialized, but you can change specialization within a couple of months and nobody would think that would be weird. Now with the universities for game development, like, what are you doing? Why? Make good programmers. A good programmer should be able, like, that's the whole point of programming. You should be able to just switch, because the kind of problems we're dealing with are pretty much the same. There's just the last layer of specialization that might be changing, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
completely different discussion, and I'm not even sure if I agree with, like, this is a thought, by the way, that has been formed 5 years ago, and I don't think I agree with it anymore now, not now that I said it. One of the problems of being old, you don't agree with the ideas that you have already, like, prepared arguments for.
Yeah. I'm not. I believe you're older than me since you said you moved somewhere in '87.
Yeah.
So I'm only 27 right now, but
Oh, young man. Well, that still counts as millennial, right? Yeah, it
I
definitely
think
does.
so.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm often disappointed with the generation I grew up with.
I'm not. It's a good generation.
Yeah, I mean there are good things coming out of each generation and bad things.
Uh, my age is very simple. If you know how old Doc M is, I'm 2 weeks older than him, I think.
Oh, really?
If the 77 in his name is correct or stands for what I think it does, and if his tweets about his birthday celebration with Psycraft are accurate, I'm 2 weeks older than him.
You're probably right. I haven't seen him around in a while. So well, I know he had a baby, so it's probably
Yeah, it's probably that.
busy.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
haven't been following him too much, but
yeah,
I do enjoy his videos when they come out. But he's had a few breaks recently, which I kind of understand.
yeah, for sure. Well, that's all I got, man. I don't know if you had anything else to add or.
Whenever you run out of ideas, I'm very open to having chats like this. This is fun.
Yeah, same here.
By the way, how does this work? I'm assuming you're gonna be editing this and cutting out the boring stuff I've said. By the way, let me know, because I suspect you will be editing it. Can you
Um,
tell me how many ums I do? And because my editing work is 80% cutting out the times when I'm saying something like, "Oh, and we need to look at this comparator here, and
well, I guarantee you probably don't do it as much as I do because I think 90% of my editing for my single player series is as well that just cutting out like me going and long blank spaces of me just thinking.
exactly the same here." I think, is this just what everybody does, and nobody, like, everybody is cutting it out, and if you actually wanted real gameplay videos, it would be maybe that's the real thing. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we're just faking it. Like, the real gameplay let's plays would be hums for 2 hours.
Well, I've tried scripts before, like writing scripts of, in the episodes, and that's helped cut down a lot of the cutting out and the editing. But uh, it tends to just the scripts work out good when I do them, but a lot of the time, like when I go to present something, it's like in the moment, and I'd rather just talk about it then and then wait and write a script so I don't mess up, and I'll just cut it out later.
Exactly the same here. Like, I tried scripts, and for me, it just sounds plastic.
Yeah,
Like, it's not organic. It's and the scripted bits, basically, they bored me when I was editing them. So
yeah, yeah,
I just abandoned the idea. It's like, if I'm like, I want to make videos that I would like to watch. That's basically it. That's there is nothing more advanced than that. Like, I'm not looking at my stats too much. I am, actually, but like, I'm telling myself I'm not looking at my stats. I'm not doing any audience surveys because I can't afford them. But that's different story. Um, I just want to do stuff that I want to watch. And when I scripted things, I didn't want to watch it. So just, no, not gonna do that anymore.
yeah, yeah. I had the same experience. When I would script something and I'd go to back and watch over it again, I was like, it sounds too much like I'm like telling the news, and
Yeah,
unless like I'm talking about what I'm doing or showing off or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I do go like I do re-record things like when I said like off the cuff comment that was good but like sounded bad because of my bad microphone discipline or breathing, which is also a terrible problem in my recordings. So sometimes I re-record them, but those, even though like might be scripted, as in I wrote the script 5 seconds ago, it still sounds good. Like
yeah,
if I re-record one sentence or one bit, but if I write it down and read it, it just sounds terrible. And by the way, like I've done this like at work when I've been doing presentations for bigger audiences. Um, when I had the script, those presentations were painfully awful. When I had like 3 slides and a general idea where I was heading, I could talk for 2 hours and not stop.
yeah,
Well, probably with all the ums and ums, but like those the audience actually enjoyed.
yeah.
So
Well, you you know, sometimes going off the cuff is better. It just turns out more organic, and but I likely won't be like normally with my podcast anyway. I try not to do like cutting or editing too much because if I'm doing all that for my Let's Play series anyway, I'll let the podcast just kind of go, and if you know, kind of let people deal with listening to the silence or the and ahs. I mean, because you don't want to cut out too much of the like natural conversation. I feel like so I likely won't edit too much, and if I
fair enough.
do, yeah, I mean
No, that's a good idea.
that's just how I look at
I'm,
it.
I'm
And
now I'm just thinking back. Have I said anything that I want to censor? No, probably not. It's good.
no, I don't think we
Have
strayed
I
too
talked
far
about
from.
any trade secrets? Have I revealed any secrets? I think I used to tell my boss, like, don't tell me any plans that we have for the company. Like, even though when I was relatively high up in the company, or like not high up, but in the know in the
Mhm.
company, I used to tell my boss, don't tell me anything because I will leak it. There is no way for me to not leak it. I just cannot shut up sometimes.
Well, I think the only thing you mentioned that you might have a spoiler for is your next video, but I
Oh,
think
that's oh, I need to make it thumbnail. That's tomorrow.
yeah, I think this that'll probably be out before this. I think this will go up tomorrow as well, but maybe later than your video. But
I'm actually and like okay, let's go into business here. Uh I'm experimenting right now with the myth of publishing time.
mhm,
So lots of people say, "Oh, you need to publish like X minutes before your audience is on average on YouTube and stuff like that." And YouTube says this doesn't matter at all. This doesn't affect your views. YouTube is lying.
yeah, yeah, I
They
think
are
so as well.
lying through their teeth because okay, I don't have enough data yet, but the few experiments I've done by publishing things a little bit later, but like more closer to the like the general wisdom is pretty much like 20% more views,
Yeah,
which is huge.
I've noticed that as well. If I put something out later in the day, like in the afternoon, for whatever reason, it doesn't get as much retention as it. I would publish it like before lunchtime, like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning. Uh,
Oh, you're doing morning. Okay. For
yeah.
me, is actually I'm actually pushing it a little bit later. But it might be because like I think I don't remember the numbers, but I think half of my audience is from the US
so it's like
or something like
region.
that.
Yeah, I wonder what time that is over here. Then you
That
said,
would be morning. That would actually end up being morning. Maybe that's I don't know. I need to play around with that because YouTube says it doesn't matter. I say that YouTube is for some reason lying absolutely.
yeah, it definitely matters.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely matters. And I'm experimenting with that now, trying to figure it out. So it might actually be even later tomorrow. Oh, I haven't decided that yet.
yeah,
Oh, that's like, I don't want to think about these things. I would actually like to just have, like, can I buy a service from someone to do the mundane stuff like writing descriptions, tags, and stuff like that? And I can do the fun stuff.
yeah.
No,
I would like
doesn't
that,
work like that.
like an editor, or
Yeah, I guess that's what editors do.
yeah.
I was actually suggesting that, like in my previous job, I was suggesting that to my boss. Like, can't we have a secretary? Like every team would have a secretary, just someone whose job it is to do all the mundane code management stuff to make sure that the documentation is written, everything is pushed in the right direction, and we would just be writing code. And everybody thought I was insane, and I pretty much think I am insane, because that is something that's it's basic hygiene. It's on the level of hygiene. You don't want someone else to wash their feet. You want to wash your feet yourself. Or hands. Why did I pick a feet? What? Why do I have feet in my head right now?
Yeah.
Hands. I wanted to say hands. Why did I say feet instead of hands?
Uh.
Oh, okay, this is crazy. I think my brain is shutting down.
Well,
So yeah,
yeah, I appreciate you coming on and doing this with me. It was fun.
it was fun. Yeah, let's do it again some point when you run out of guests.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back on. It was fun.
All right.
Uh,
Well, then until next time.
Yeah.
Or are you doing some outro? How does this work?
No, I mean,
You-
yeah, we just kind of.
You just let the conversation trail off and die a slow death. I don't know how to end conversations, by the way. This is a problem. 40 years, 40, 40. How many? bloody-
I'm not very good at them either. I'm a pretty non-social person,
I'm
actually.
by the way, like this is a terrible thing, but I'm one of these people who at the party I say goodbye and then I leave without mentioning anything like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know how to leave.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Okay, so we're stuck here now forever because we don't know how to end this.
Yeah, we'll just play some Minecraft and play some music in the meantime.
I actually do need to edit my video, so I have an excuse to end. I'll talk to you later, man.
Okay, yeah, have a good
Yeah.
one.
Have a good day.
All right,
Bye.
see ya.